I'd like to welcome back the listeners of Torah Anytime and Yibineh for a special 3-part, very short series to get us ready for Yom Kippur. Short part number 1 is we're going to discuss why it's hard to do chuva and what we can do about it. Part 2, we're going to discuss how we can magnify the joy and simcha and kedusha of eating on Erev Yom Tov. And finally, we're going to discuss Yom Kippur itself and how to maximize the day. So let's, with no further ado, let's get into why is it hard to do tshuva? I don't think too many people disagree with me that it seems to be hard to do. So I think the best way to tackle this is to share with you a story that happened almost 20 years ago when I was in yeshiva. I was part of the yeshiva Birkas HaTorah, which is in the Old City. And on Erev Shabbos, we would have the Kupat Tzedakah would go around. There were like 13 routes in the Old City collecting tzedakah. So I was so happy. I was zocha to do this collection for the needy people with my Rebbe. So when you get time with your Rebbe, you want to be ready. So I was ready with what I thought was a great question. I said to him like this. I said, Rabbi, I've been working on Heshbon and Nefesh, and I have to be honest with you, try as I may, it's like, it's so superficial and it's inconsistent. I stop and I start, I'm so frustrated. I'm not doing it the way I'd like. You know what he said? He said, that's because you don't want to do it. Rebbe, what do you mean? I planned this question to figure out how to do it well, right? I'm working on it. He said, you don't want to do it. I'll explain what that means, the depth of it. It says in Perkei Avos, right? This is the Eitzah of Rebbe. He says, Rebbe says, you do this, you are going to succeed. He said, calculate the reward of a mitzvah of an avera against its loss. And this is the one we'll focus on. Calculate the loss of a mitzvah compared to the reward you get. Now, here's the question we have to ask. What does Rebbe want? He wants me to not do averas, and he wants me to yes do mitzvahs. So why is he, let's focus on mitzvahs, why is he drawing my attention to the loss involved with mitzvahs? Why just say, think of the reward of mitzvahs and compare it to the loss involved with an avera? He was saying the same thing. If we don't look inside ourselves and find out, there's a part of us, if we're not succeeding to do something, part of us doesn't want to. Part of us has resistance to it, okay? So says Rebbe, and I think the Bartanura says like this, when you think about the loss involved, it's okay, it's going to take time, it's a hassle, I'm tired, right? So you now know why you may not want to do it. And then you machazik yourself by thinking of the incredible reward. Now that's good because now we can reflect and we can think, well, what am I concerned about? Okay, so that's number 1. I think that's an important secret. When you're having a hard time doing the mitzvah, say to yourself, why don't I want to do it? Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is, and I don't think I'm going to meet anyone who disagrees, I just don't have time, right? I don't have time. I'm so busy. I'm preparing for Yom Tov. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm learning. I'm teaching. You could go on and on and on. We don't have time. That's how we feel. The third one is we don't really appreciate the bigger purpose in doing tshuva. If we understood the bigger purpose, it'd be easier. Yom Kippur is a phenomenal day in that it gives you atonement for so much. Now, the day is so powerful and holy that there was a debate amongst the Tanaim. One of them said, you don't even need to do tshuva. Unfortunately, he lost. Right? Rebbe won and said, no, Yom Kippur's power is unleashed if you do tshuva. And so that means you have to, Rav Moshe Sternbuch Shlita says, You can do it before Yom Kippur, like now. Okay, you're already entering in with a way to maximize the atonement and the cleansing and the kedusha, because whenever you express your intentions to Hashem, it elevates your connection to the mitzvah, and it makes it more of a relationship. Hashem, so everybody, Hashem, let's have this in mind. We're about to do chuva because you command us to do chuva, Hashem. Let's say Erev Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur. We're about to do this, Kasher Tziva Hashem. And also let's add this, because we love you. Okay, let's do this because we love Hashem. In order to get you into the process of tshuva we're going to do right now, I have to tell you a story. This is a true story. It happened maybe 15 years ago. Let's say 15 years ago. When I was in the yeshiva, in Eller, we would turn the Musar Shirim into total focus on tshuva. We do the Sefer Shari Tshuva and all sorts of exercises, okay? So there was this one bacher, he was there at El. I think he only was there for 1 month. 3 years later, I'm invited to the Citadel for his wedding. And I'm there enjoying the wedding, and then suddenly one of the guys in the yeshiva says he spoke to the father of the Hassan. And he asked the father, making small talk, who was the shotgun? And the father said, without hesitation, he says, Rabbi Wegbreit. Me. I never met the woman, okay? I didn't know he was dating. I didn't know anything. And he said, I was the shotgun. Why? It turns out it is true, okay? I told you, we don't do tshuva as well. We find it hard because we don't realize what a significant thing it is, okay? It's not just like cleaning up our act and getting into our problems. And what we're doing is we're realigning our relationship to Hashem. It's about a relationship and repairing a relationship. Now, we probably have heard that, but do we approach tshuva as a repairing of a relationship you love very much? So listen, in order to do that, I had the students write 2 letters, love letters I call them, okay? So the first one was pick someone that you're close to and you haven't acted properly to them and you care about them. And what do? You open up by saying how much you do care about them, what you appreciate about them, how you love them, and then apologize. So this fellow who came 15 years ago, he writes the letter. He was going out with a non-Jewish woman. And he broke it off. Probably is the right thing in the context. He broke it off. And so, but he didn't feel he did it properly. So he said, you are a very nice person. He expressed his appreciation and he apologized. She was so touched by this letter that she started taking conversion classes, completed the conversion classes, and they got engaged and married. So I was the shotgun, thank God. Okay? That's the power. That's the power of repairing a relationship. What I'd like you to do right now is we're going to write a letter to Hashem. Okay? So I want everybody, and that includes you, whoever's listening, get a piece of paper and a pen, all right? And write at the top, Dear Hashem. So we said we're having in mind the mitzvah of doing tshuva, but we're also have in mind the mitzvah of ahavas Hashem, loving Hashem, okay? Because really, if you do tshuva ma'ava, Hazal tell us, it's a whole different game. And also, if we just reflect on a little bit of what Hashem does for us, how could we not feel love towards Hashem? So also have in mind the mitzvah of ahavas Hashem. All right, open up by sharing from your heart all the things you appreciate. You could go on forever, but some of the things you appreciate that Hashem does for you, okay? So let's open it with appreciation. and then just apologize for some things, okay? All right? So without further ado, take your Dear Hashem letter and do this as a mitzvah of chuva, of repairing the relationship, okay? I'm going to do it as well. Where this class is being recorded, people are writing feverishly and passionately. I was too. It never fails to touch me. And the thing is this, sometimes we need a different orientation to recognize that we have feelings towards Hashem and that we are aware of Hashem's existence. So that's part of the beauty of this, is that by writing a letter, we don't usually write a letter to Hashem. David HaMelech did, he called it Tehillim, a series of love letters. But when you do this, you see it becomes real. And I encourage you, hold on to this and read it on this holy day, okay? And as the day progresses and our body's drives go down, I think your heart will open up. So this wraps up part 1 of the 3-part series on getting ready for Yom Kippur. We just did chuva together and a chuva ma'ava, and this will lead us to the holy day as it approaches.
It's